Rob McEwen says his Los Azules is among the largest undeveloped copper asset in the world. With us is Vice President of McEwen Copper, Michael Metting. Michael, welcome to Kitco.
Many thanks, Michael, for inviting me to this interview.
Describe Los Azules and what makes it unique, Michael.
I think that, first of all, looking at copper, and I agree with somebody else that said copper is becoming a topic of national security. And what we see is balkanization of the world, unfortunately. And Los Azules is located in the province of San Juan, a province that is highly ranked year after year in the Fraser Institute report for mining attractiveness. Last time it was ranked higher than Chile and Peru. I've been in San Juan since 2010 and have some quite expensive experience in that province. Was the CFO for Barrick for 7 years, so know the ins and outs of doing business in Argentina. And San Juan to Argentina is pretty much like Nevada is to the US. So what makes Los Azules stand out? Los Azules stands out because it's relatively low altitude. It's between 3,100 and 3,600 meters of altitude, which is for a project in the Andes is not that high. We have measured and indicated of 10.2 billion pounds and inferred of 19.3 billion pounds of copper. We have a relatively high grade in the measured and indicated category of 0.48%, and in the inferred we have 0.33%. If you compare that to other mining companies in the province of San Juan, that stands out. We are very close to infrastructure. Straight line, it's only 70 kilometers to a 500 kV power line and to a provincial road, where other mining projects are pretty much far out. So I think from a logistical point of view, we are very well positioned. Goldman Sachs did some work based on studies at the time. We were also on the lowest cost quartile versus the other mining projects, the other undeveloped big copper projects. So we think we have a very unique profile, Michael.
Now, I think that you've been with McEwen Copper for a couple of months. Is that correct, Michael? I'm just wondering what the work has been done to date at Los Azules.
Yeah. So I'm about almost 10 months with McEwen Copper. And what we did in the beginning of the year was starting a drilling campaign. The issue in Argentina over the time was that there was little exploration over the last, I would say, 10 years. So it was very difficult to find equipment that was in good condition. It was difficult to find proper personnel. We have fixed a lot of those issues now. We have what I think we found the right mix of some international companies that operate in Argentina, that are located in Argentina, and some local suppliers that we are building up. We actually bought 4 drills ourselves that should be arriving soon in Argentina. So we are looking forward into an interesting drilling season. This drilling is mostly aimed at feasibility study work. The drilling work that we did in the beginning of the year was in order to increase our knowledge of the ore body, in order to update our PEA that should be finished by the end of the year and to be published beginning of next year, first quarter of next year. So
now I believe your PEA was from 2017 with $3 copper.
That's correct.
So should have different economics with your new PEA.
Yes, we also looked at the flow sheet of future copper production. So what we want to do is we want to build a mine that is mindful of the environment, that has a low footprint in terms of environmental impact, and that runs on as much as we can on renewable energy, ideally 100%. We have some indicative offerings on 100% renewables. I said we are not far away from a high voltage power line. And we want to produce a product that we don't have to ship around the globe. So what you will see coming up in the PEA is most likely a flow sheet that looks in the first 10 years into producing copper cathodes. So we'll use a heap leach instead of building a mine. In conversations with potential investors, banks, and also with majors, the message was, well, at the moment it's difficult to get capital for a $4 to $6 billion project, and a mine that uses a flow sheet where you start with heap leaching is, I think, is scalable, is from a capex point of view much better than comparable alternatives that are mill alternatives. You don't have to ship around your product because you could still actually in Argentina. Argentina has a lot of lithium resources, is an industrialized country, has automotive sector that is doing pretty good actually. So there is a lot of benefit of starting that way. And then with the partnering with Rio Tinto through their Nuton arm, they bring some very interesting concepts and very interesting processes and technologies for future heap leaching of higher sulfidized ore. So this may be really something that is very interesting going forward.
Now, let's explain that Nuton piece, Michael. I believe that's Rio Tinto's Nuton Technologies, and that was how you're going to be processing the copper. Also, Rio Tinto, I believe, is an investor in the project.
Yeah, so Nuton is the Rio Tinto technology arm. Yeah, there are a couple of there are a couple of technology companies that look into leaching of primary ores, for example. There's Nuton, there's Jetty, there are others. But what I think what is interesting is that for us, the project will stand on its own with existing leaching technologies. So Rio Tinto, we contacted them in order to say, okay, would you be willing to look at our minerals? Would you be willing to try out your technology and see how you can increase recoveries and how can you shorten timelines of leaching? And Rio looked at our project and said, oh, that looks interesting. And when we started talking, they was like, well, you guys are looking for some additional financing, right? And we said, yeah, we still have an open financing round. They said, okay, how much are you looking for? I said, well, 25 million. I said, okay, let's go. So that is a very abbreviated version of the process that took some time to develop, but that's the main message. I think that Rio, through Nuton, wants to get a foot in the door into upcoming and promising copper projects, and would be a win-win for both of us because we think we stand on our own with our leaching technology. Yeah, we'll have positive economics, but whatever we can do that is commercially attractive to improve that, we're happy to listen.
Are you going to be challenged by water in the area, Michael?
That is another good thing. We have actually the water table is quite close. Our project sits in a depression between two mountains, and there we have. We may actually be water positive from dewatering of the future pit. So there was another consideration of going the route of heap leaching versus a mill, and the tailing storage facility, because we believe that we'll have lower water use. We have some interesting ideas on additional water capture, but I think that with the dewatering going down the pit, we'll have more than enough water now. So I don't think we'll have any challenge in terms of water in San Juan.
Now, McEwen Copper, that's going to be a standalone and listed next year, correct, Michael?
Yes, that's correct. Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, sure. So McEwen Copper is 68% owned by McEwen Mining. But the thinking behind the listing was that McEwen Mining operates a couple of precious metal mines, Canada, the US, Mexico, southern Argentina. And it may not have the visibility that it deserves, because first of all, analysts, they don't like to have kind of a conglomerate of different kind of mines and metals bunched together. And also for an investor, if I want to get exposure to gold, then I buy gold, or I buy mining stocks that look into gold. If I want to get exposure into copper, then I would like to buy companies that are focused on copper. So that's the idea behind it. We also need, while we have plans to make this scalable and with relatively low capex, it is still significant capex going forward. I mean, a copper mine is it's usually something significant and long life going forward.
Rob McEwen is a longtime guest and friend of Kitco, and we certainly associate him with his. We love talking to him about his thoughts on and the outlook for precious metals. So I understand the separate listing. Michael, let's finish. Other than the listing next year, what are going to be the milestones over the next 12 months for advancing McEwen Copper?
So we will be doing a lot of work around technical studies. So we'll do geotech, hydrology, hydrogeology. We engaged Knight Piésold to already start with the compilation of environmental impact assessment. So that's kind of the permit application for the mine going into operation at a later point in time. In Argentina, you can do that with limited designs. So that is something that we're currently preparing, and that we should have ready, if all goes well, at or before mid next year. That's an important milestone, when you have your environmental permits. The next thing that we're looking for is the PEA. The PEA is the basis, the updated study, the technical study according to NI 43-101 and SK 1300 for the IPO that we want to do in the first half next year. And at the same time, we already started with feasibility study work. So we have an internal stage gate approach. So we do kind of an internal PFS. But at the same time, all the work is geared towards a feasibility study that we want to have finished sometime in 2024.
Michael, thanks for telling us about it.
It's a pleasure talking to you.
He's Michael Mining. He is Vice President of McEwen Copper. My name is Michael McRae, and you're watching Kitco Mining.